I would like to start by saying that this is going to be a long video, so this is a warning, not an apology, because I'm not going to apologise. What I'm saying needs to be said and it needs to be heard so that it can be understood. I'm going to be talking today about what it's like having to read anti-Muslim comments online and how heartbreaking it is to know that there are strangers out there who hate me, not just the terrorists, but me, just because I'm a Muslim. I'm going to talk about how hard it is to read comments directly directed at me, literally mentioning me by name, saying, "I hope you burn, Muslim scum," or "you should just commit suicide," or "the world would be better without you, raghead." They don't know me, they have never met me, and I've never done anything to them. And yet they hate me, just because I'm a Muslim. They make their ignorant comments, and I point out the facts. They have their favourite line, "Not all Muslims are terrorists, but all terrorists are Muslim." Yeah, all terrorists are Muslim, apart from the 94% that aren't. 23% of the world's population are Muslim, and yet only 6% of terrorists are Muslim. We are underrepresented in terrorism, and yet everyone associates us with terrorism. They call our religion evil. They call me evil for following my religion, saying it's associated with terrorism, but it isn't. It is not associated with terrorism. Even the statistics show that it is not associated with terrorism. But because of what they see in the media, their ignorant little minds associate me with these terrorists, and I am nothing like them. I try to be the best person that I can be. I don't hurt anyone. And if I do accidentally hurt someone, I apologise to them and I try to make it right, because I don't want to hurt anyone. I want to be a force for good in the world. And that is why I have to comment on those things, because if I allow those ignorant comments to go unchallenged, then other people will read them. And if they see them unchallenged, they'll think, well, that must be fact then, otherwise why is no one stopping it? Why is no one saying anything against it? And then they'll internalise those comments, and in turn they'll hate other Muslims, and other innocent Muslims like me will have to suffer. And it is so draining, it's so emotionally draining to have to fight to defend something that I am not associated with. I have nothing to do with it, and I have to defend myself because of what other people are doing. And these ignorant people, they say things like, "Why don't you stop the terrorists then if it's nothing to do with your religion?" What do you think? I say La ilaha illallah, and then I magically have a telepathic link with every other Muslim in the world, and not only can I connect with them, I can tell them what to do, I can control their actions. These people are psychopaths. They are evil people doing evil things. They can call it whatever religion they want. What they have to do is nothing to do with my religion. It is nothing to do with my religion. Their heads are messed up, they are brainwashed, they are evil, and nothing anyone would say would convince them otherwise. Like, I am telling you, I am proving to you that Islam is not terrorism, and you're still associating it with it. So if I can't even convince you that Islam has nothing to do with terrorism, how can I convince someone who is so convinced otherwise that they literally kill people over it? I can't. And you say that I have to like stand up against terrorism for the 6% of terrorism that's committed by Muslims. Well, then why don't you non-Muslims stop the other 94% of terrorism? Because you can't, because it's nothing to do with you, just like Islamic terrorism is nothing to do with Muslims. And I know it's just a minority who think like this, and I get so much support from my non-Muslim friends, and I genuinely appreciate it, and I know that they mean well when they say, just ignore it, those people, their opinions don't matter. And I know that their opinions don't matter, but it's different when you have to live with that, when that is your everyday life, is fighting intolerance. And when you're not on the receiving end of it, you can't really understand how it feels to read those comments. And yes, those people are ignorant, and their comments are not based in fact. They're based in those people's ignorant, racist opinions, but they still think that, and they still hate me. And I'm only human. We have an innate need to be liked, to feel validated. And so I can't just ignore their comments. I feel them. I am a deeply emotional person. Like, I cry at like 1 minute long YouTube videos sometimes. I feel things so much, and when I see those comments directed at me, even though I know that person doesn't matter and I'll probably never even meet them, sometimes I just sit there staring at my screen for minutes, just feeling empty, just wondering, why do they hate me? And they'll never accept me until I abandon my religion. Why do they want me to abandon the thing that I love most? The thing that gives me hope? The thing that brings me joy? My religion is so important to me, and it's never once driven me to do something bad. Do you honestly think that if the terrorists weren't Muslim, they would be good people? No. Good people don't do those kinds of things regardless of their religion. They would find an excuse to do bad no matter what it was. Like, even ISIS themselves, they admit they have very little Islamic knowledge. Majority of them don't even pray. They do like application forms when they go in, and 70% of them have basic or below Sharia knowledge. They don't know their religion because it's not about Islam for them. It's just they want to be part of this evil movement. They want to go around killing people, feeling powerful, whatever. It is about them. It is not about Islam. And I know that most people know this, but there are some people who don't, and they won't listen to reason. And that is the thing that gets me more than anything. If they want to be racist in their own time, fine, you can't control that. But the thing is, they act on that racism and they make ignorant comments. And see, that is why it's so hard arguing against them, because I base all my comments in truth. I cite sources, I use proper actual statistics, I mention references from the Quran and the Hadith to explain why what they're doing is wrong. But then they'll either take an out of context comment from the Quran, or they'll just make something up entirely, or they'll make up I read a statistic the other day that said 16% of Muslims are terrorists. There are 1.6 billion of us in the world. Do you honestly think that if 16% of us were terrorists, everyone would be obliterated in a matter of days? It's like the actual statistic of the percentage of Muslims that are terrorists is 0.000006625%, according to an official researcher, objective researcher, who actually worked out the numbers. But I can say that all I like. Someone else just has to throw out another number, and then there's two opposing facts. My one's fact, their one's fiction, but people reading it, they don't care. They just want an excuse for their hate. They want someone to target their anger at. And at the moment, Muslims are those people. And so, I, as a Muslim, am their target for hatred, even though I've done nothing wrong. And even if I ignored the comments on the controversial topics, those people still carry those opinions around with them. Like, the other day, I was commenting on a TV show that I like. It was like a comment about one of the characters. And I made it, and someone said that I don't get an opinion about that character because she's a white woman and I am an oppressed Muslim. And then other people agreed. They said that I shouldn't get an opinion on this because I'm just oppressed and I don't realise I'm oppressed. How stupid do you think I am? Like, seriously. I address everything else with critical thought. Do you honestly think that I would just blindly follow a religion without learning anything about it? That I would just accept everything that was told to me and I wouldn't bother to research it? No, I address absolutely everything with cynical thought. I look into the facts, and I've looked into the facts of my religion, and it has nothing to do with terrorism. This has nothing to do with oppression, and this isn't a video about hijab, so I'm not going to talk about it. I've made another video about hijab if you're interested. But the point is, this does not make me have any less of an opinion on things, and it doesn't make me less valid as a person. This is just one part of my religion, my beautiful religion. And I assure you that however much you hate ISIS, Muslims hate them far, far more, because they have done so much more to us. Muslims are the greatest victims of ISIS, both in attacks and in the after effect, because Islamophobic attacks have risen. There are people being attacked in streets for being Muslim. And I am not downplaying the suffering that ISIS has caused to non-Muslims, not at all. I am absolutely not. I disagree with everything they do, but I am pointing out that Muslims are just as much victims as you are. And much as I hate you, well, no, I don't even hate you when you make your ignorant comments. I can't bring myself to, because you guys are ignorant. Your brains just can't comprehend the truth. You want hatred. I can't hate you for that. I'd be like hating a disabled person, because your minds, you can't comprehend the truth. You just want that hate. But ISIS I do hate, because they are going out there and they are killing innocent people and they are spreading lies about my beautiful religion. They are taking the thing that I love most and twisting it into something ugly. I hate them. Some people suggest that I should just stay off the internet if I'm going to be so affected by it. But I enjoy being on the internet. Why should I have to avoid something that I enjoy just because strangers out there are bullying me? And even if I stay off the internet, I'm still not free from it. Let me tell you a story. A few years ago, I was volunteering in a British Heart Foundation shop. And there's this man loitering by the door. He comes in, he walks over to me, and he tells me, "How dare you wear that thing on your head? Are you supporting Al-Qaeda? Why haven't you done anything to stop Al-Qaeda?" He just glares at me. And I know I should have made some reasoned argument explaining why Al-Qaeda aren't Islamic, and I should have just told him, I am here to volunteer in a charity shop, so if you're not going to buy anything, just go and take your racism elsewhere. But I didn't do any of that, because I was shocked. I just muttered something about how I was against Al-Qaeda, and he just growls at me, "Well, you can't expect me to ignore you when you wear that thing on your head," and he walked out. And I was shaken. I excused myself to the toilet, and I just sat in there for a few minutes, crying. And I know that story is going to make me sound weak, but I'm not ashamed. I was about 17, and all I wanted to do was help out a charity shop. I wasn't prepared to be verbally abused because of my religion. The only person in that story who has anything to be ashamed of is that man. And I guess this is the point of my video, is that, yes, I'm a Muslim, but why do you want to generalize us altogether? Everyone's different, everyone's unique. I am many things. I am a Muslim. I pray 5 times a day, and I try to live a compassionate, merciful life as was taught to me by my Prophet, peace be upon him. I am a student. I love learning things. I hate exams, because heck, who doesn't? But I am a total geek. I'm a president of the Sci-Fi Fantasy Society. I absolutely love loads of really geeky stuff. And there's just so many different facets to me. Religion is one of them. And honestly, the terrorists, I wouldn't say religion is a facet of them, because they don't follow the religion at all. All they do is shout Allahu Akbar when they blow themselves up. God is great. He doesn't want you killing people. That's why he specifically said, don't kill people. There is a verse in the Quran that explains how if you kill one innocent life, it's as if you've killed the whole of mankind. God doesn't want that. So you can say God is great all you want, but if you're not living your life venerating God, then I'm sorry, but how can you call yourself a Muslim? And when these ignorant people, they say, well, why do you sit there in silence? Muslims don't sit there in silence. If you search Muslims against ISIS on YouTube, you get hundreds of thousands of results of just ordinary Muslims condemning them. There are imams up and down the country in their Friday prayers every week explaining why ISIS are wrong. Explaining why radicalization has nothing to do with Islam. And if you ignorant people bothered to set foot inside a mosque instead of saying, oh, they're in there preaching terrorism. No, they're not. They're in there preaching love and kindness and respect and compassion. They are in there preaching the religion. So before you make those ignorant comments, why don't you actually go and see if what you're saying is true? Go to a mosque, Go to a mosque or Friday prayer and listen to the khutbah. And you will hear that there is nothing bad being said. It's all good. It's all teaching us how to live a good life, an Islamic life, but a good one, because Islam and good are the same. Islam is all about morals. Over 100 of the top Islamic scholars wrote an open letter to ISIS, a 28-page letter, detailing very clearly why what they're doing is wrong. ISIS don't want to hear it. We do condemn them, but you don't see that publicised on the media. It doesn't make for a good story. It doesn't fit in with their rhetoric of Muslims are the bad guys. So that's why you don't hear it. But do your research. It's out there. And I want to say that your words do hurt me. I know they shouldn't, but they do. They cause me pain, they cause me sadness. Sometimes they just cause me to sit there unable to focus on anything else except for how hated I feel by you. And eventually I move on from it because I have people in my life who love me and who care for me, and they are the people who make life worth living. And you guys are nothing to me, but I'd be lying if I say your words didn't affect me. And I know for some of you people who make those comments, you'll be glad to hear it. But I want you to look into my eyes and realise that I am hurt by what you said, and I am an innocent person. And if you don't care, if you think, oh good, or oh it doesn't matter, it's just a Muslim, well, let me tell you something. I think that says a hell of a lot more about you than it does about me.